You're listening to The Jay Palmer Show.
Man, I didn't think I was ever going to do a show. I mean, I really don't want to do a show that's political based. But I think I have to. I don't really have to. I don't really have to do anything. But I feel I've been compelled to. Compelled. Where movie is that from? I feel like that's a movie. I'm compelled. What the fuck is that from? My God, I see it in my face. I see it in my mind, not in my face. I don't think with my face most of the time. Oh, anyway. Man, I'm going down that road, and I don't want to go down that road. Okay, now, I'm just going to put the disclaimer out there now. I don't identify with either party on any political basis at all. In previous... Can I say a previous life? I mean, I'm sure in a previous life I did identify with a party. I've obviously voted. I've voted for people who are of certain parties. I've actually voted for both parties. But I can't say at that time I identified with that party. I no longer identify. I mean, you guys know that. People who know me know that I don't identify with anything. Like, I kind of put myself not above it, but I put myself outside of it just to get a better idea of what, they say they are, or not really they say they are, because when somebody says they are something, more than likely they're not. It's what they want to be. That's why that's why I say, like, don't listen to people. You need to watch what they do. Watch their actions. Because, you can get yourself into cognitive dissonance really, really quickly. And trust me, you don't you don't want to go down that road. I spent 2.5 years in cognitive dissonance. And is it dissonance? I think it's dissonance. But yeah, it sucks. Don't do it. It's a very confusing place. And I'm comfortably going to say that I believe that a majority of the population is currently living in cognitive dissonance. I thought that was a movie. Huh. All right. Okay, so this whole there's obviously there's a lot of passionate people in the political spectrum right now. Our current president, I've got a lot of questions. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna try not to bash anybody in this episode, because I really don't. I don't want to, because I 100% believe that we're all ultimately responsible. And the biggest issue, the biggest issue I have right now, I've always had, is, at the end of the day, are we really doing what's great? What's okay? No, people who identify with a certain party, are they doing ultimately what's great for the country or for their party? And I don't think they're doing what's ultimately great for the country. Because if they did believe that, they wouldn't identify with a party. Because we're all here together. Why are we here fighting each other? But here's the thing. Here's the thing that I keep going back to. The whole yin-yang, the yin-yang, the black and the white, or the red and the blue. Let's just use red-blue because it's Democrat and Republican. Like, I feel like as time goes on, we're getting more polarized in our belief systems. And And I don't see how that's going to end in any good way at all for anybody, for both sides. And I'm sitting here saying, well, let's just teach people like how to disconnect from their party and be what's good for the country. The problem with that is once you disconnect from that, you're going to get into something else, and it's going to be the same. There's no way of escaping the yin yang concept because it's always going to be there. It's the way. There's always going to be opposites of something. But like I said, that's right now we're just getting, both sides are getting more polarized and more extreme. Like the current Democratic Party in the United States is getting very, very hardcore left. Like, I'm talking socialists, nationalist socialists, and then on the right side you have the very, very hardcore, nationalists. Can you call them fascists? I guess they're getting more extreme, and I see the same ending on both sides, because it is going to be the same ending on both sides. And I've got the belief system, like, people are saying, well, you're a Republican, you're for business, you want more power in business, and on the Democratic side you want more power in the government. I mean, both sides, you end up with the same thing. You end up with people who have way too much power. Because currently, right now, I think corporations, they currently have way too much power. I think, I'm in no way, like I said, I'm in no way a socialist, a person who believes that corporations are bad. I believe that at some point, obviously a lot of corporations at some point become so financially driven, and they're not driven to better society. I've been watching a lot of videos from the 50s, and I saw, like, I don't know, 6 months, a year ago-ish, I watched a video on the trucking business, because that's used to how I made my money. I was in transportation. I'm still in transportation, technically. But, like, if you watch these instructional videos on trucking from the 50s, like, if there was a person broke down on the side of the road, this company would train their drivers in first aid and, like, car maintenance to help people continue going. Like, these truckers would literally stop and help strangers on the sides of the roads to get them out of their issue. And I think that's great. I think if you're going to own a company, if you're going to make a company, that company's only, I'm talking above money, I think that company's only objective should be the better. How can we make society better? Not necessarily money. Just keep money out of it. Obviously, money's a big thing of it, but if you don't have a company, you don't have money. Like, people today are turning money. They're just going straight to money. They're not creating a product. They're not creating something of value that betters society. The stock market, for example. I mean, obviously, the fluidity of the money in the stock market helps companies. Can you really say that helps? That just gives them a monetary value, I guess. Can you say that's good for that company? I've seen a lot of companies go into the stock market and just crash and go to shit. I personally don't. I don't like the concept of the stock market, to be honest with you, because it creates this volatility and it just creates a lot of bullshit. I'm all about keeping it simple. Like, let's go back to the trucking thing. Make a company that's going to better society. That should be your only job as a corporation. How can I make society better? Not how I make myself better, but how do I make society better? Now, obviously, in my belief system, I believe the self as other, because it's all one. So for if I'm gonna make a company, and I'm going to hurt people, I'm basically hurting myself. And that's essentially, that's just, to me, that's truth. You know, when you're out hurting others, you're hurting yourself. And we've all seen it hundreds of thousands of times where somebody who gains power and ultimately just loses all of it and ends up dead or in prison and all that stuff. I mean, you can't escape the judgment. You can't escape it. It just, I don't even want to call it evil, because it is what it is. You just can't escape it. Now on the left side you have, the big government people. And here we have the problem again of this concept of greed. You have greed in companies, and you have greed in government. And it's the same greed. It's the same concept, because the people just want ultimate power. In government, you can get tyranny quicker than, let's say, in a corporation. I mean, we all hate cable companies, and we all think they're all too powerful. I think they're too powerful. I think they could charge way less, because those cable companies, I'm kind of going back and forth here. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it's going. Like, the cable companies today aren't for the bettering of society. They're all about bettering their pocketbooks. And that's why we're all angry about it. I 100% believe that if we all paid $10 a month, we could all have pretty good internet. I'm just saying. I think the internet's way overpriced. I think a lot of things are all overpriced. The only reason that they're all overpriced, like I said already 100 times, it's no longer about a good product. It's no longer about helping others. It's not about the betterment of others. It's all about helping myself. And if you're all out to help yourself all the time, you're going to create a very, very hostile world, because everybody's going to be about taking everything from everybody else, and that's currently where we're at. It's not about, hey, how can I help you? It's, hey, how can I take money from you, but I'm going to say I'm here to help you. Actually, here, hang on a second. I think I heard. I was listening to an Ellen Watch speech this morning, and I don't know if I can.
Lee means originally the markings in jade, also means the grain in wood.
Let's see if I can.
Order. And this kind of order is not quite what we call order. When we arrange everything geometrically in boxes or in rows, that's a very crude kind of order. But when you look at a plant, it's perfectly obvious that this bamboo plant has order. We recognize at once that that is not a mess. But it is not symmetrical.
I don't think I can.
That's pretty obvious. But I hope there's God or somebody looking after all this. But why should there be someone looking after it? Because then there's a new worry that you may not have thought of.
Oh, wait a minute.
Like, who takes care of the caretaker's daughter while the caretaker's busy taking care? Who guards the guards? Who supervises the police? Who looks after God? Well, you say, God doesn't need looking after. Oh, well, then nor does this. Tao. Because Tao
is basically Tao. He's talking about Taoism in the speech.
Is a certain kind of order. And this kind of order.
It's funny. I'm reading about. I don't want to go in this because it's kind of going off path of what I'm talking about originally. But he's basically. I'm reading about how how this whole linear aspect of life is going against all natural. Basically, it's what the hell? It's going against this linear path that we're going on, that you're supposed to go on in life. I'm going to be born, I'm going to go to kindergarten, then I'm going to go to first grade, and then I'm going to go to middle school, then high school, and then I'm going to be successful. If I'm not successful, society is going to banish me. You have to do all these things, and that's going against the natural ways, basically, is what.
Is not quite what we call order. If you talk to a mathematician about randomness, he'll make you feel quite weird. What are you looking after?
I don't know where this is at.
Oh, well then nor does this. Tao. You see, the bell came out of nothing with your ears. Not. Because if you're really naive, you see that the past is the result of what's happening now. They're happening. You're part of the universe. In Chinese.
I don't know where this is at. Dang it. Where the hell did I hear that at? This is bugging me now. I can't remember what the hell I was originally talking about. Oh, so it's towards the end. It's towards the farther. I'm like not even. Let's go here.
Defensive arts, where you always get underneath the opponent, and so he falls over you. Who wants to be put in charge of a runaway?
There we go.
Because we're always trying to play games of one-upmanship. Pattern of liquid. Because Lao Tzu likens Tao to water. The great Tao, he says, flows everywhere, to the left and to the right.
I can't remember what the hell I was talking about to get to this point.
That.
God damn it.
It loves and nourishes all things, but does not lord it over them. Because, he says elsewhere, water always seeks the lowest level, which men abhor. Because we are always trying to play games of one-upmanship and be on top of each other. Well, Lao Tzu explains that the top position...
Oh, okay, yeah, now I know what I was talking about again. That's right.
...is the most insecure. Everybody...
Hang on, I'm going to go back to that real fast.
...and be on top of each other. Well, Lao Tzu explains that the top position is the most insecure.
And think about that for a second. Think about that in your life, and think about it in your own life, like when you felt insecure.
Everybody wants to get to the top of the tree, but then if they do, the tree will collapse. That's the fallacy of American democracy. You too might be president. The answer is no one but a maniac would want to be president. Who wants to be put in charge of a runaway truck? So,
that's. I feel like I'm going off topic here. Democrat, Republican, yin yang. Polarization. How does this fit into what I'm talking about? I mean, I agree with what he says, and obviously I agree with what he says. I just showed it to you twice, or let you listen to it twice. I've listened to it 3 times. I listened to it by myself, and then twice there. Just saying. But I just feel like, and I was listening to. I'm trying to find like the exact point where he says this in his speech, but I was listening to Obama speak the other day. don't want to listen to like the news.
It is no secret. Washington is corrupt. Across the board, our government systematically favors the rich over the poor.
You need to vote because our democracy depends on it. It did not
I agree with that.
start with Donald Trump. He is a symptom, not the cause. He's just capitalizing
I 100% agree with that as well.
on resentments that politicians have been fanning for years. Over the past few decades, the politics of division and resentment and paranoia has unfortunately found a home in the Republican Party.
See, this is where I have issues. I just want to say I'm in no way supporting Barack Obama here. No, like I said, I'm not supporting Trump. But what I'm saying here is, like, if one side of the aisle gets polarized, the other side of the aisle is going to get polarized, and they're just going to keep expanding into like these extremes. And but by people identifying with either party, you're losing. You lose. Because we're all going to end up in the same spot, regardless of what side you are claiming you identify with. I mean, our country is fucked either way.
They're undermining our alliances.
Because well, you know, if he wants to win in this speech here, he needs to come out and not identify as a Democrat and say, us Democrats need to stand up against this. Why can't he say, us Americans need to stand up against this? Because as an American, you know what is good and what isn't good for our country, for this world, or whatever.
Cozying up to Russia. What happened to the Republican Party?
You know what happened to it? Your Democratic Party got polarized, so the other side got polarized. It was... we are all ultimately fucking responsible.
Republicans who know better in Congress, and they're there, they're quoted saying, yeah, we know this is kind of crazy, are still bending over backwards to shield this behavior from scrutiny or accountability or consequence. And by the way, the claim that everything will turn out okay because there are people inside the White House who secretly aren't following the president's orders, that is not a check. I'm being serious here. That's not how our democracy is supposed to work. These people aren't elected.
Just like the czars that you put in there. This is the thing. This is the thing I'm talking about.
They're not accountable. It should not be
Or did I say elected? I mean chose.
Democratic or Republican. It should not be a partisan issue to say that we do not pressure the Attorney General or the FBI to use the criminal justice system as a cudgel to punish our political opponents. And we're sure as heck supposed to stand up clearly and unequivocally to Nazi sympathizers.
Who's standing up to Nazi sympathizers? I don't understand. I guess I'm not paying attention enough.
How hard can that be, saying that Nazis are bad? Fortunately, I am hopeful. Look at this crop of Democratic candidates running for Congress and running for governor, running for the state legislature, running for district attorney, running for school board. It is a movement.
It shouldn't be about the Democrats. That's what I'm talking about. Because we're just going to get polarized on the other side again.
Of citizens.
And then we're going to end up where we were in 2008 when we were like just hardcore leftist. The really only reason we are hardcore right now because we were hardcore left. What, 8 years ago? More than that. 10 years ago. 10 years ago.
Happen to be younger and more diverse and more female than ever before, and that's really useful. In the end, the threat to our democracy doesn't just come from Donald Trump or the current batch of Republicans in Congress or the Koch brothers and their lobbyists or too much compromise from Democrats or Russian hacking. The biggest threat to our democracy is indifference.
Is us. Is us.
The biggest threat.
The biggest threat to democracy is every individual in this country.
The threat to our democracy is cynicism. Do not complain. Don't hashtag. Don't get anxious. Don't retreat. Don't binge on whatever it is.
Because people need to understand something. Like our government isn't a product of us. We are a product of our government. Wait, did I say that right? No, I think I said that right. Like how we are inside is how this world is projected onto us. Is how we project the world, is what I'm trying to say. I think I got my words all fucked up here. Like, Trump is in the White House because of us. Obama was in the White House because of us. These polarizations are happening because of us, not because of them. We are not a product of them. We don't just, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, you can't answer me now, but
You're binging on. Don't lose yourself in ironic detachment. Don't put your head in the sand. Don't boo. Vote. Vote. I believe in you. I believe you will help lead us.
oh God. It's funny. I respect the way he speaks. Like, I'm not a very good speaker. I suck at speaking. I couldn't. That's not my thing. I realize this is a podcast, and I realize it doesn't make any sense. But I can't. I'm not a good speaker. I'm not. I'm aware of it. I mean, but I think Obama's a good speaker. Like, the way he does speeches is very it's polarizing, obviously. Let's go. Let's see what. Let's see. Okay, let's see here.
So we have a very simple, well-defined task. We want to have strong borders. We want to have low taxes.
Why do those people sound fake?
We want to cut the hell out of regulations. We want, and by the way, we want regulations. Somebody, very popular guy here was just interviewing me. You know who I'm talking about, great guy. And he said, what do you think of President Obama's speech? And I said, I'm sorry, I watched it, but I fell asleep.
That's because you're 78 years old and can't probably, a lot of 78-year-olds fall asleep.
I found he's very good.
He's like 72 or 3 or whatever. But
very good for sleeping. I think he was trying to take some credit. He was trying to take credit for this incredible thing that's happening to our country. If the Democrats got in, I have to say this to President Obama, and it wasn't him, but would have been the same thing. If the Democrats got in with their agenda in November of...
It shouldn't be about an agenda.
Almost 2 years ago, instead of having 4.2 up, I believe, honestly, you'd have 4.2 down. You'd be negative. You'd be in negative numbers right now. You'd be in negative number. We were heading south, and you look at those bad numbers that were...
See, this is. I mean, like, how can you escape it? I don't have the answer. I don't have the answer to this question. I'm asking the answer. Like, I'm asking for the answer. What the fuck am I saying? But I just, you really can't. You can't say that I'm better than both sides. All you can say is, look. You say this is a lot in Hinduism, where you escape your karma, you rise above your karma. Karma can be like the yin yang. No, really, actually, it can't, because the yin yang is good, bad, white, dark, anger, male, female. But this is why I say you shouldn't identify with stuff. I said this at the beginning of the podcast. Like, Just step back and stop identifying with it, and you'll see how ridiculous everything is. I mean, it's entertaining. I'm not gonna lie, but it needs to calm down, because eventually people are gonna start getting hurt. Like, it's not good. I mean, we've seen this, thousands of times over tens of thousands of years with civilizations, taking each other civilizations out and claiming they're the good, they're the bad, or whatever. It's like, it's just, this isn't good. Polarizing each side is not going to lead to goodness for a nation. That's all I'm saying. I mean, that's all I can say. I don't know. Is the solution, the solution is to pull out of your identification with whatever party you identify. I'm even talking the Libertarian Party. I guess you consider that I'm a libertarian, but I don't say I'm a libertarian. I want what's best for everybody, not necessarily this country, but everybody. How can everybody live a happy and joyful life? And I understand that people think differently. Some people want to live a Christian lifestyle. Some people want to live a Muslim lifestyle, or a Hindu lifestyle, or whatever. You should be able to do that, and we should all be able to do that and live in our little boxes of harmony and not fight over it. That's all.
The Jay Palmer Show is hosted on Podbean.com. Download the app on iOS and Android and listen anytime, anywhere.
See you later.